The coast had just come into sight, a faint dark line to the north beneath the lowering gray clouds, when the sea serpent hit us. I looked up at Owen's cry and saw him standing in the high swan-carved prow pointing off to the starboard side. I hadn't caught the words over the wind, but the tone of alarm was unmistakable. I snatched up my M110 from the sea chest at my feet and started working my way across the deck to join him. If it had been the marksman rifle that I'd left behind on the USS Macon Island, I probably would have had it in a waterproof bag slathered with silicone spray. But King Caedmon's Coira Ansec, the mystical cauldron that could produce ammo, weapons, whatever you asked for, really, produced some fine firearms. That thing was practically impervious to salt water. The deck of Nocdane's ship was neat, every line, chest, and tool in its place, but that didn't make it clear. It took me a minute to cross to the prow, where I joined Owen, Bayrak, and Gunny Taylor at the gunwale. Gunny was already up on his rifle, peering through the scope. The whole platoon had switched from our M4s and M27s to M110s and Mark 48s from the Coira Ansec, after we'd seen how little 5.56 did against some of the monsters in this world. Owen and Bayrak simply peered out across the water. The Tuacha da Riamag didn't use optics. Their eyes were far better than ours. I squinted through the gloom. The overcast had thickened as we'd sailed north, and though it was about midday, the ship was wrapped in a gloomy twilight as it heaved over the gray chop of the sea. There! A V-shaped wake cut across the waves, undulating slightly as it bore down on us. Whatever was making that wake, it was big, and it was fast. "Brace yourselves!" Bayrak, barrel-chested and black-bearded, was holding on to the gunwale with one hand. I was about to open fire on whatever it was, but it was apparently bigger and faster than it looked, because a moment later something hit the ship with a bone-jarring impact. The ship heeled over, and every timber groaned after the boom of the initial blow. I grabbed a hold of the gunwale in time to keep from going over on my back and sliding across the deck, hearing the awful scrape of something big dragging across the keel beneath us. The deck swayed and shuddered alarmingly under our feet for a moment. The terrible scraping noise subsided, and Gunny and I moved quickly to the port side, scanning the water over our rifles. Only the dark gray water topped with white caps where the wind whipped the spray off the tops of the waves met our eyes. Movement stirred in the depths, as if something huge and pale was turning over. Then it struck again. I felt the planks of the hull bend tortuously beneath the deck as something massive slammed into the ship's flank. Despite being braced for it this time, we all staggered, and I almost slipped backward. I still got a glimpse of a massive pale gray back just beneath the waves, arcing as it dove underneath, once again battering at the keel as if the thing was trying to tip us over. Tipping over a Tuacha ship is far more easily said than done. While she groaned and rocked under the impact, I heard no cracks of broken planks, and she righted herself, rocking slightly from side to side, the sail flapping overhead, as the monster passed to the starboard side again. There is a virtue in everything the Tuacha build that is difficult to overcome. "Hold!" Mathghaman stood at the mast, tall, auburn-haired and bearded, his feet planted wide, one hand on the mast itself. "It cannot sink us thus. Let it give us a better opening." Grim as his voice was, there was still that lilting Tuacha music to his words. I had lived and fought among the Tuacha long enough that I no longer needed the mind speech to understand him. Mathghaman was King Caedmon's champion and our brother through fire. Thrown together in Taramis's dungeons, we had fought our way out of the land of ice and monsters together. At the king's own request, we had then fought our way through haunted forests and cursed deserts to rescue the mystic Sister Sabale from an ancient vampire in its own lair. As vastly different as our origins might have been, we were closer now than any kin we might have left behind in the world. He stood firm while the ship rocked and shuddered under the continuous onslaught.